DIY recycling hacks transform scrap into a magical mini garden. Ladies and gentlemen, imagine walking into a space where the ordinary becomes extraordinary, where materials once considered waste find a second life, shaping the heart of a garden that speaks not only to beauty, but also to sustainability. This is a journey that blends design, innovation, and environmental consciousness into the art of turning scrap into a dreamy little garden. This is more than just a collection of ideas. It is a manifesto for modern living, for a lifestyle that embraces sustainability without sacrificing style. Gardens have always been a reflection of culture and imagination. From the Zen gardens of Japan to the sculpted estates of Europe, they echo values, aesthetics, and aspirations. Now in the 21st century, the garden has evolved into something more, a stage where recycling, upcycling, and design converge to create not only beauty, but purpose. In the past, gardens were primarily about display, a showcase of wealth, order, and nature tamed by human hands. But today, the meaning has shifted. The modern garden is about personal connection, ecological mindfulness, and a sense of sanctuary. It is where people retreat from digital noise, reconnect with natural rhythms, and find healing. And within this shift lies an even greater movement, the rise of sustainable architecture and design. Scrap wood, broken tiles, rusted metal, worn-out tires, items that once filled dumpsters, are being reimagined as raw material for beauty. Designers and homeowners alike are discovering that these elements bring texture, authenticity, and history into a space. A recycled garden is not only eco-friendly, it is soulful. The garden becomes more than a patch of green. It transforms into a narrative. Every bench built from salvaged wood, every planter made from reclaimed concrete, tells a story of transformation. It is design that whispers, beauty can be reborn. Recycling in architecture and landscape design addresses three major challenges: sustainability, affordability, and individuality. Sustainability is no longer a choice, it is a necessity. Cities are expanding, waste is rising, and natural resources are strained. Recycling within garden design reduces landfill waste, lowers carbon footprints, and promotes a circular economy where nothing is truly discarded. Affordability becomes accessible because scrap materials are often free or low cost. A dreamy little garden does not require a heavy budget, it requires imagination. A homeowner can repurpose shipping pallets into vertical planters, use old pipes as modern sculptural frames, or reshape wine bottles into colorful garden borders. Individuality is perhaps the most exciting element. No two recycled gardens are alike. Every choice reflects the personality of the designer and the history of the materials. Unlike mass-produced furniture or uniform landscapes, these gardens are living fingerprints of creativity. Some may wonder, can scrap truly be beautiful? The answer is a resounding yes. When paired with thoughtful design, recycled elements create layers of contrast and meaning. The weathered grain of reclaimed wood carries warmth. The rough edges of stone fragments evoke raw authenticity. The faded colors of rusted metal add industrial chic. Modern trends in architecture and garden design are celebrating imperfection. The Japanese concept of wabi-sabi, the beauty of impermanence and imperfection, aligns perfectly with recycling. Cracks, scratches, and patina are not flaws. They are poetry written by time. When we look at a garden crafted from scrap, we see more than visual beauty. We see resilience, ingenuity, and a commitment to a future where resources are honored, not wasted. Across the world, communities are redefining garden design with recycling. In urban Asia, where space is scarce, small balconies bloom with planters made from repurposed plastic bottles. In Europe, old brick and stone from demolished buildings become raised garden beds. In Africa, tires are transformed into vibrant seating and flower beds, blending color with utility. Each of these examples demonstrates that recycling is not limited by geography or culture. It is a universal language of care for the planet. And beyond care, it is innovation. Designers are not only following trends, but setting them by proving that what was once considered scrap is now desirable. When we talk about garden design, we must think not only about decoration, but about structure, the architecture of space. A well-designed garden is like a well-designed home. It considers flow, balance, and function. Scrap materials allow us to rethink these architectural principles. Imagine a pergola built from reclaimed beams, its wood telling the story of another era while sheltering new plants. Picture a pathway laid with broken ceramic tiles arranged in mosaic patterns. Visualize a water feature where an old basin or bathtub becomes a modern focal point. Every piece of scrap can become an architectural element, giving form and coherence to the garden. The challenge for the designer is to see possibility where others see waste. Recycling fits seamlessly into broader trends in architectural landscaping. Biophilic design integrates natural systems into human environments, and recycled materials connect human activity with natural cycles. A vertical garden made from old ladders or shelving embodies this principle. Minimalism with depth favors clean lines and simplicity, while scrap introduces authenticity without clutter. Indoor-outdoor fusion brings unity when the same reclaimed wood is used both inside and outside. Edible landscapes support self-sufficiency when raised beds are built from scrap wood and recycled barrels. Climate-responsive design leverages recycled metal as shading structures and recycled glass as permeable surfaces to manage stormwater. As we look ahead, the integration of recycling into garden design is not a temporary trend. It is a foundation for the future. Imagine smart recycling, where old solar panels become shaded canopies that still generate energy. Picture AI-assisted garden planning, where algorithms suggest how best to reuse specific materials in design layouts. Consider community-driven recycling hubs, where neighbors exchange materials that then find new life in shared green spaces. This future is not distant. Prototypes already exist in architectural exhibitions, eco-communities, and urban innovation labs. The dreamy little garden made from scrap is no longer a backyard experiment. It is an emblem of how humanity will design in harmony with the earth. A vision emerges where waste is never wasted, where beauty emerges from what others overlook, where gardens are not just green patches but living statements of creativity and care. The journey of recycling in garden design is both personal and collective. It begins with one bench, one planter, one pathway, and it grows into a movement that reshapes how we live, how we design, and how we dream. Scrap is not the end of a story. It is the beginning of a new one. Now that the vision has been established, it is time to move into the tangible, into the practical ideas and design solutions that allow anyone to craft a dreamy garden from materials often left behind. What defines this stage is not only creativity, but also the merging of function with aesthetics. A recycled garden must serve its purpose, to be a sanctuary, to be a stage for plants, to be a reflection of style, while also standing as a living sculpture made from everyday fragments. The starting point is to identify the resources available. Every home, every community, and every construction site carries remnants that can be redirected toward design. Wooden pallets, broken tiles, unused glass bottles, rusty metal frames, even old tires. Each of these can be transformed into a feature that both surprises and delights. The key lies in reframing perception. What looks like waste is in fact untapped material. Wood, for example, is among the most versatile. Pallets can be disassembled and rebuilt into vertical gardens, offering both structure and greenery in tight spaces. Old doors can be converted into rustic garden tables. Discarded beams can anchor pergolas or shade structures. Each wooden element brings with it a character that polished, factory-made furniture lacks. The irregularities, the scars, and the uneven surfaces are precisely what make them authentic. Metal scraps have a different story to tell. Where wood brings warmth, metal delivers strength and resilience. Iron grates can be transformed into trellises for climbing plants. Rusted steel rods can become sculptural accents, their weathered surfaces catching the light in unexpected ways. Even bicycle wheels, often abandoned, can serve as creative frames for hanging planters. What was once mechanical finds new life as organic support. Glass, with its transparency and reflection, creates magic in garden design. Recycled bottles can be buried halfway into the soil to form colorful edging along pathways. Shattered glass, when treated safely, can become sparkling mulch or decorative mosaic. Old windows can be repurposed as cold frames or mini greenhouses, capturing heat and extending the growing season. Light plays with glass in a way that no other material can, and in a garden, it adds dimension that shifts throughout the day. Stone and ceramics, when broken, may seem useless, yet these fragments can be laid out as mosaics for walkways, tabletops, or wall features. A cracked sink can become a bird bath. A discarded bathtub may evolve into a water garden, filled with lilies and goldfish. These heavy materials bring solidity, anchoring the garden and giving it timeless weight. They prove that imperfection is not weakness, but opportunity. Beyond individual materials lies the concept of modular recycling design. This approach emphasizes creating garden features that can evolve, adapt, and expand. A set of modular planters made from scrap wood or recycled barrels can be rearranged seasonally. Recycled pipes can form interchangeable irrigation systems. The modular principle mirrors the flexibility of modern life, changeable, adaptive, and personalized. Practicality also demands attention to durability and safety. While scrap materials bring authenticity, they must be treated and prepared properly. Wood should be sanded and sealed against rot. Metal must be checked for sharp edges or excessive rust. Glass should be smoothed to prevent injury. The artistry of recycling is not only in imagination, but also in craftsmanship. A dreamy garden is as much about comfort and safety as it is about aesthetics. Design patterns emerging today offer guidance. Vertical gardening, for instance, is ideal for small spaces, and recycled shelving, ladders, or pipes serve as perfect frameworks. Raised beds, built from salvaged timber or stone, not only reduce waste, but also make gardening more ergonomic. Pathways created with broken tiles or mixed scraps add visual rhythm while reusing otherwise discarded pieces. Seating areas, crafted from reclaimed benches, swings made from tires, or tables assembled from doors and barrels, become gathering spaces full of character. Lighting introduces another layer of enchantment. Solar jars made from recycled glass containers, lanterns fashioned from tin cans, or chandeliers built from old bicycle chains can transform a garden by night. Here, scrap materials partner with renewable energy, extending sustainability into ambiance. A garden glows not with artificial uniformity, but with handmade warmth. Trends in garden architecture now celebrate this artisanal touch. Handcrafted designs born of recycled materials are positioned against the backdrop of sleek, modern construction. The contrast between the raw and the polished, the old and the new, creates tension and harmony. This is where gardens become contemporary art installations, not merely functional spaces. The cultural value of recycled design cannot be ignored. When communities engage in recycling gardens, they create collective identity. Shared gardens filled with repurposed elements tell the story of collaboration. Each neighbor might contribute a piece, an old chair, a cracked pot, a pile of bricks. Together, these fragments weave a shared tapestry of history and creativity. A garden ceases to be private property and becomes a living museum of community memory. Equally important is the environmental symbolism. A garden made from scrap sends a message. It tells visitors, neighbors, and future generations that beauty is not purchased, it is created. That sustainability is not sacrifice, but style. That the future of design is not found in constant consumption, but in intelligent reinvention. Every corner of a recycled garden carries this message quietly but powerfully. Technology, too, is beginning to influence recycling design. Online platforms allow designers to share blueprints for do-it-yourself garden projects made from scrap. Digital fabrication tools like 3D printers are being paired with recycled plastics to create custom garden features. Apps guide homeowners through creative reuse of household items for landscaping. Technology, often blamed for disconnection from nature, is here becoming an ally to ecological creativity. Consider also the role of trends in future living. As cities grow denser, space becomes more limited, and gardens often shrink to balconies, rooftops, or courtyards. In these compressed environments, recycling thrives. A balcony garden built from crates, jars, and fabric scraps can bloom into an oasis above the city. Rooftops lined with planters made from construction debris can not only provide food, but also reduce heat absorption, cooling entire buildings. These are not distant possibilities. They are practical, tested solutions already appearing in progressive cities around the globe. The aesthetics of recycled gardens align seamlessly with modern design philosophies. Minimalism, for example, finds beauty in essentials. Scrap materials stripped of polish embody this simplicity. Industrial chic, with its embrace of raw steel and exposed brick, resonates strongly with recycled garden architecture. Eclectic design, which celebrates variety, thrives when every piece carries its own story. By aligning with these movements, recycled gardens are not only sustainable but fashionable. At the heart of these ideas lies the human experience. To walk into a garden where every piece is reclaimed is to step into a narrative of resilience. To sit on a bench built from a salvaged door is to rest on history. To drink tea beside a pathway of broken ceramics is to embrace imperfection. These experiences engage not just the eyes, but the heart, the mind, and the spirit. The dreamy little garden is, therefore, more than visual delight. It is a place of learning, a classroom of sustainability. Children raised in such spaces understand recycling not as theory, but as daily practice. Adults working in these gardens rediscover creativity not through purchase, but through invention. Guests visiting them encounter a new definition of luxury, not extravagance, but thoughtful beauty. And so, practical design converges with philosophy. Scrap becomes a tool not only for building, but for teaching. Each planter, each pathway, each corner reminds us that creativity has no limits when guided by care for the earth. Recycling does not diminish the dream, it enriches it. In the heart of a recycled garden lies not poverty of resources, but abundance of imagination. The journey into recycled garden design now turns to its ultimate expression, the blending of present innovation with future vision. What begins with a single reclaimed object evolves into a philosophy that shapes architecture, lifestyle, and even entire communities. The dreamy little garden made from scrap is no longer a private experiment. It becomes a symbol of cultural transformation. At the center of this transformation lies the idea of harmony. A garden crafted from discarded fragments unites human creativity with the cycles of nature. It demonstrates balance between old and new, artificial and organic, practical and poetic. This harmony is essential for the future of design, where aesthetics cannot be separated from sustainability. The most beautiful gardens of tomorrow will not be those filled with rare plants or expensive materials, but those that tell stories of regeneration, of life renewed. In terms of architectural expression, recycled gardens are expanding their vocabulary. Structures are being redefined through inventive reuse. Shade pavilions built from shipping containers are softened by climbing plants. Outdoor kitchens fashioned from reclaimed bricks become centers for community gatherings. Seating carved from salvaged stone forms circles of conversation and reflection. Every architectural element carries the dual role of utility and symbolism. It is useful, but it also speaks. It says that waste has been redeemed. This architectural language is supported by new design movements. Regenerative design, for example, focuses not just on reducing harm, but on restoring ecosystems. A garden built from scrap does not merely recycle. It often supports soil health, biodiversity, and microclimates. A wall constructed from broken concrete may become a habitat for mosses and insects. A water feature carved from a discarded basin can attract birds and pollinators. These layers of life transform what is built into what is living. Urban development is another field where recycled gardens are playing a decisive role. Cities today face the dual challenges of density and sustainability. Rooftop gardens built from construction waste can mitigate heat, absorb stormwater, and produce food. Community parks designed with recycled playground structures can reduce municipal costs while fostering civic pride. Even narrow alleys once overlooked can host vertical gardens created from scrap metal frames. Every fragment of urban space can become a canvas when viewed through the lens of recycling. Cultural identity also shapes the recycled garden. In some regions, traditional craft merges with modern sustainability. Bamboo offcuts may become woven fences. Clay shards may decorate walls with ancestral motifs. Scrap in this sense is not only material but memory, anchoring communities and heritage while carrying them into the future. Each culture brings its own vocabulary of reuse, enriching the global tapestry of garden design. Trends in global living suggest that this movement will only intensify. With climate change, economic pressures, and increasing awareness, recycled gardens represent both resilience and aspiration. Homeowners seeking uniqueness prefer the charm of reclaimed objects over mass-produced furniture. Young generations, raised with ecological consciousness, value the authenticity of reuse. Designers, searching for fresh aesthetics, find endless inspiration in the irregularity of scrap. The result is a cultural trend that is at once stylish and responsible. Technology will accelerate this transformation. Smart sensors may be embedded into recycled materials, turning an old beam into a structural element that monitors humidity. Digital platforms already share tutorials for building planters from tires or benches from pallets, spreading knowledge globally. In the near future, artificial intelligence could analyze available scrap in a neighborhood and generate personalized design blueprints for residents. The fusion of digital tools with physical recycling will make sustainable design accessible to everyone. The psychological and emotional impact of recycled gardens deserves attention as well. To step into such a space is to feel renewal. People find calm in the knowledge that beauty has risen from what was once considered worthless. They are reminded that imperfection is natural, that transformation is possible. A recycled garden teaches resilience not through words, but through presence. It becomes a sanctuary not only for the body, but for the spirit. In practice, these gardens also foster social interaction. Community members gather to build together to contribute scraps and ideas. Children paint bottles that later form garden borders. Neighbors collaborate to assemble mosaic pathways. This shared act of creation strengthens bonds and generates pride. A garden born from collective recycling is not just a physical space, it is a social architecture. Looking ahead, the future of recycled garden design promises even more daring possibilities. Imagine floating gardens built from recycled plastics, drifting on rivers to purify water while providing green refuge. Visualize high-rise buildings where each balcony transforms into a mini recycled garden, creating vertical forests across city skylines. Picture entire neighborhoods where waste never leaves the community, but is continuously reintegrated into gardens, streets, and structures. These visions are not fantasy. They are seeds of innovation already germinating in forward-thinking cities. The stylistic evolution of gardens will also continue. Industrial chic, rustic minimalism, eco-modernism, all these trends find natural allies in recycled materials. Designers will push boundaries, blending sleek solar technology with rough wooden scraps, pairing lush greenery with rusted iron, juxtaposing digital lighting systems with handcrafted mosaics. This contrast between the refined and the raw will define the cutting edge of future garden aesthetics. Yet at the heart of all these possibilities lies a simple truth. The recycled garden is an act of love. Love for the planet, expressed by reducing waste. Love for creativity, revealed in the transformation of forgotten things. Love for people, shown by creating spaces that heal, inspire, and connect. A dreamy garden made from scrap is more than decoration. It is a declaration of values. And so, the narrative comes full circle. What begins with scrap ends with vision. The garden that grows from discarded fragments becomes a symbol of possibility. It reminds us that design is not only about form, but about responsibility. It proves that luxury is not excess, but meaning. And it shows us that the future of architecture, landscaping, and human living will thrive not in endless consumption, but in endless imagination. The dreamy little garden is therefore not small at all. It is vast in its implications. It touches architecture, community, culture, and future trends. It invites everyone, homeowners, designers, children, neighbors, to participate in a movement where nothing is wasted and everything is transformed. It is both a sanctuary and a statement, a quiet corner and a global call. To walk through such a garden is to walk into a vision of tomorrow, a world where creativity and care shape every space, a world where beauty arises not from what is bought, but from what is reclaimed, a world where even the smallest garden can echo the greatest truth, that renewal is always possible.